Welcome back to Planetary Possibilities, where we explore the mind-bending mysteries that challenge everything you think you know about reality. I'm Aria, and today we're going to discover something that will fundamentally change how you see yourself and your place in the universe. What if I told you that the universe appears to be perfectly calibrated for your existence, not just life in general, but specifically for conscious beings like you to emerge and ask the very questions we're asking right now? But here's where it gets truly wild. This isn't about some universal designer. This is about the universe potentially bootstrapping its own awareness through us. Let me blow your mind with some numbers. The fundamental constants of our universe, things like the strength of gravity, the electromagnetic force, the mass of electrons, are tuned to such precise values that if any of them were even slightly different, consciousness as we know it could never have emerged. Take gravity. If it were just 1% stronger, stars would burn out too quickly for complex chemistry to develop. 1% weaker? Stars couldn't form at all. The strong nuclear force that holds atomic nuclei together. Change it by 2% and you get no carbon, no organic chemistry, no you. The electromagnetic force, the weak nuclear force, the cosmological constant, every single one sits in this impossibly narrow range that allows not just matter to exist, but complex, organized matter. Matter that can think. Matter that can wonder about its own existence. Scientists call this the anthropic principle, the observation that the universe seems tailor-made for observers like us. But here's what kept me awake last night. What if this isn't a coincidence? What if it's not design? What if it's something far more extraordinary? What if the universe needed observers to exist, and somehow ensured they would emerge? Here's where reality gets weird. In quantum mechanics, we've discovered something unsettling. Many properties of particles don't have definite values until they're observed. The famous double-slit experiment shows us that particles exist in multiple states simultaneously, what physicists call superposition, until the moment of measurement collapses them into a single reality. Now scale this up. If quantum mechanics governs the fundamental level of reality, then in some sense, the universe itself might exist in superposition until observed. But here's the kicker. For most of universal history, there were no observers. So how did the universe decide which values these constants should have? How did it choose the precise parameters that would allow consciousness to eventually emerge and collapse these universal wave functions? Some physicists propose that the universe exists in all possible configurations simultaneously, what we call the multiverse. In most of these universes, the constants are wrong, and no observers ever develop. But in universes like ours, where the constants allow for consciousness, observers eventually emerge to collapse the wave function and make that particular universe real. Think about this. We might not be living in a universe that happened to develop consciousness. We might be living in a universe that only becomes real because consciousness develops in it. The universe didn't create us. We and the universe created each other. This creates what philosophers call a bootstrap paradox. Which came first, the finely tuned universe that allows for consciousness, or the consciousness that makes the universe real through observation? Here's the mind-melting possibility. Maybe neither came first. Maybe they're locked in a loop that transcends time itself. Picture this, a universe where the fundamental constants exist in superposition, all possible values at once. Over universal time, in the branches where the constants allow for complexity, matter organizes into stars, planets, and eventually, us. Conscious observers who can look back through time, study the universal microwave background, measure those constants, and through the act of observation, retroactively collapse the wave function of the early universe. We're not just products of universal evolution. We might be active participants in creating the very universal history that led to our existence. Every time you learn about the Big Bang, every time you contemplate the fine-tuning of physical laws, You might be literally helping to determine what those laws were 13.8 billion years ago. The universe isn't trying to understand itself through us. It's using our understanding to define what it is and what it has always been. If this is true, it means consciousness isn't an accident or byproduct of universal evolution. It's a fundamental feature of reality itself, as basic as energy or matter. The universe requires observers not just to understand it, but to exist in the first place. This flips everything upside down. We usually think of ourselves as tiny, insignificant specks in a vast, indifferent universe. But if the anthropic principle works this way, then consciousness, your consciousness, is one of the most important phenomena in the universe. Without observers, there might literally be nothing to observe. Every moment of awareness, every question you ask about reality, every time you look up at the stars and wonder about your place in the universe, you're not separate from the universal story. You are the universal story becoming aware of itself. And here's the truly staggering implication. If consciousness is required for the universe to exist, then the emergence of consciousness was inevitable from the very beginning. The universe had to evolve observers, because without them, there would be no universe to evolve in. We are the universe's solution to the problem of its own existence. So, let's take a step back and process what we've just explored together. We've discovered that the universe's constants are perfectly tuned for consciousness to emerge, not by design, but possibly because consciousness and the universe bootstrap each other into existence through a mind-bending temporal loop. Here's a simple way to picture it. Imagine a timeline where the universe and consciousness are in a feedback loop, each shaping the other. We've seen how every moment you observe and understand the universe, you might literally be helping to collapse the wave function of cosmic history itself. You're not just made of star stuff. You might be the universe's way of deciding what kind of star stuff exists in the first place. But here's what I'm really curious about. What do you think? Does this idea that consciousness co-creates reality resonate with you? Or does it feel like we're pushing the boundaries of physics too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, we explore anything and everything every week here on Planetary Possibilities, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Until next time, keep looking up and keep wondering about all the planetary possibilities that surround us every day.